But I think Apple Venus was the best album we did, and my other personal favorite, like I say, was probably Nonsuch. I think that's a good album. It doesn't get much of a look in with the fan thing.
That was XTC with Dear Madam Barnum from 1992's Nonsuch album, one of my favorite tracks on that album. Andy Partridge is our guest, and was that a single? I seem to recall that being a single.
You know, I can't even remember what was a single on that album.
Well, I know the Ballad of Peter Pumpkinhead was a single.
That was a single. And that had the whole video thing done for it and everything.
Right, and the Disappointed.
Disappointed was a single. Yeah, right. You're right. And that had an appalling video done for. I shouldn't talk about videos. I hate our videos. I absolutely despise them.
Well, you know, it's funny you bring that up, because the other day I saw, I don't know if it was a television appearance or something you did. You know, YouTube is personally haunting you, Andy Partridge, because there's footage. I don't know if the official video for Life Begins at the Hop, but you're actually boogieing.
Yeah, we did that. We did something like, I think we did 3 videos in one afternoon in a studio in London, and then we had to rush off to the airport to start an Australian tour. You know, get on a plane and stay awake for 23 hours, get to Australia, and then be kept awake for another 12 hours while we're live on air and you're doing press stuff. And you know, I think that's the longest I've ever been awake. I remember falling asleep on air in between. You know, Colin would say something, and then I'd fall asleep, and then somebody would wake me up. And as I was answering a question, Colin would fall asleep, and so on. And then you'd turn to the press man who came with us, and he'd be snoring, and we'd have to dig him, you know, because we were kept awake for so long. But no, we made 3 videos in one afternoon. I think we did Nigel... Life Begins at the Hop, and Jesus, what was the other one? No, I know it was a rush job, and it was like nobody had any ideas, and they said, well, what do you want? And I said, well, look, God knows, I haven't even thought about it. I tell you what, make some electric guitars out of wood, and get like a wood cutout car. And like a background that looks really crap, and we'll roll with it. And it was just kind of goofing. It was one of those goofing about videos. And I think they hired some dancing girls to come in, one of which whose breasts she could not contain them in her tube dress.
Well, now, wait a minute. This might not sound like that bad of an experience.
That was the best bit of it. Right. It was like, no, I'll go and dance near her in this spot, you know, because she's having trouble keeping those puppies in the sack. Yeah, I detest all of our videos because largely we didn't get a hand in designing them. You know, you'd have a meeting with a video designer and they'd make all the right noises, and you think, great, we're finally going to do a video that where we get an input. Then you turn up and then nothing would be as you discussed.
Right.
And I remember turning up for the video of the video shoot of the Disappointed, the aforementioned Disappointed. Mm-hmm. And I said, "Hey, wait! These sets are not how we discuss. This is nothing like it. This is nothing like what's the midget doing running around? Who said there was going to be a midget here? And I was actually told by the manager of the filmmaker, look, shut up, Sonny. We're trying to make a video here." And so there you go. That gives you some idea of how we were regarded in the process of XTC videos. They all suck. The only one that didn't suck was the one that we got to make on a really little budget, which was the Dukes of Stratosphere Mole from the Ministry.
Right.
Which we tried to make like a parody of every late 60s psychedelic promotional film.
Right.
They weren't called videos then, they were promotional films, you know.
Sure.
That one was okay, and we also did a very cheap one in an afternoon for Funk Papa Roll, which is us laid on a floor, pixelated, you know, one shot, and then you move, another shot, you move, another shot, you move, and we were laid on the floor with the camera locked off on the ceiling. We rolled around on this floor all day, and that's up on YouTube as well. That one's pretty good. That cost nuppence to make.
And I think at some point the label put out a video hits collection years ago.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to call it Box Belong Look Look.
Okay.
The collection. They said, "What do you want to call this collection, Andy? And how do you want to cover? What do you want to put on the cover?" I said, "Well, I want to call it Box Belong Look Look because that's pidgin English for television. A television in pidgin is called Box Belong Look Look. Disinfectant is called Kill Him Stink Fella. A telescope is Bamboo Belong Look Look. It's pidgin English. Pidgin English, incredible language, really inventive, really kind of comical and surrealistic. But they communicate in this. And the pidgin for television was Box Belong Look Look, and I thought that's a great title for videos. So Virgin said, "No, you can't. That's too confusing. That's too long. It's too confusing. We'll cut it down." And I said, "Oh, for Christ's sake, all right, just, I don't know, look. Which, it's stupid because it doesn't mean anything. Box Belong Look Look meant something. Look doesn't mean anything." And they said, "What do you want on the cover?" I said, "Well, I'd like..." I was really going through a thing with the paintings of Archimboldo, who was I think he was Czech. And he did faces made out of stuff like fruit. They were just a load of fruit or whatever, and then you look at them and they're actually, it's arrayed, so it's a beautiful face. Mm-hmm. Or there was one where there's all wheat and crops and stuff, and that's all arrayed, that's a face. And he did one with fish, and I thought, wow, that would be great. And I said, "Look, can you get this Archimboldo picture, get the rights to this Archimboldo picture of the face made of fish?" Because I thought it was so stunning, and I was just going through an Archimboldo thing at the time. And of course, we were very busy doing something, making an album, or I think we were making an album at the time, and busy or away promoting one or something.
Right.
And we didn't get to see the artwork. And, you get back home and they post you one. Here it is. It's all pressed up and printed, ready to go. Here it is. And it's like, what the hell is this? What it was is the way that the person at Virgin had relayed it to the art people. They ended up by getting a female assistant that worked in the art department and slapping a load of fish around her face. And you look at it, and she's just laid on the floor with all this kind of, and I joked about herring earlier, but she's literally, the poor bitch has got all this herring slapped around her face. And come on, how wrong can you be? This is not what I asked for. "Oh, I'm sorry, Andy, it's too late. They're all pressed up. We got like 5,000 of them pressed, or however many thousand they made." And, so... I thought, okay, from now on, I always have to deal with the art people directly. Is not do it through somebody in the A&R department or the and R department.
Right.
The gag goes, but was it? How many A&R men does it take to change a light bulb? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, now you're your own CEO, A&R. You're everything right now.
Yeah. I'm the logo on the back of the airplane.
Right.
Wouldn't that be great? I can, Virgin have got that fleet of jumbos.
Sure.
I think what Ape would have. We'd have a Blériot. With a little bit of canvas tied to the back with a little picture of the ape face. And we said we didn't have a motto for Ape.
Right.
The ape, the face of the ape, also, he has no name. I like the kind of Clint Eastwood-ness of that.
Yeah. Sergio Leone ape.
Yeah, the chimp. He's the chimp with no name. Yeah. I'm kind of like. I like to see myself as the art department first because I love, packaging, and then after the art department, I'm the A&R man, and then if I have to be, I'm also the mixer or producer or, I heard a couple of years ago I got sent some recordings, some demos by a girl from Albuquerque called Jen Olive. And I thought, wow, this is so odd and so unusual. I am loving it. It's kind of unlike anything I've heard before. Like high-life guitar, kind of like folk guitar, but played like a high-life guitarist might play it. And these multi-layered voices doing these very strange chord structures and counter rhythms. And then she's banging things like she's thumping a suitcase, and then she's hitting together pebbles and hitting a pen on a beer bottle and for percussion and stuff. I thought, this is really unusual stuff. I think I want to get involved in this. And I didn't think her recordings were fantastic quality, so I gave her a few tips. I said, look, open your cupboard up, hang a mattress in it, sing into that so you can't hear your fridge going off behind you.
Right.
She basically recorded them in her jacuzzi shed in Albuquerque and would then upload them. And I said, look, I'll mix them. And I did. So I had to be the mixer because I couldn't afford to go to Mr. Swish Knobs to get it mixed, And I also like the fact that she's recording these in her shed and uploading them, and I'm mixing them in my garden shed.
Right.
So
shed to shed.
Yeah, if I have to be the label mixer as well, I'll do that.
And where, by the way, just for the benefit of our listeners, where would people go to find out about the many delights of Ape?
If you should let your fingers wander to ape.uk.net, there's the Ape site, which we're in the process of. Ape's had a bit of an upheaval in the last couple of months, so we're in the process very shortly of changing the whole look of the site and the way that you buy things there. So if you go to ape.uk.net, you'll find the site as is at the moment, and it'll stay that way for a few more weeks, but then it'll be we're going to a different look and a different kind of vibe. But yeah, she's there, so check her out. You'll find all sorts of interesting things there. Also
the Fuzzy Warbles.
You'll find the Fuzzy Warble series, which is 8 or 9 if you buy the whole collector's set albums of My Home Demos. I was just getting sick of getting bootlegged. I was so sick of it. And people would actually post me back bootlegs of my stuff. Hey, we bootlegged you. Have one. Well, I was so sick of being bootlegged, I decided, well, nobody can bootleg me better than me.
Right.
And I've got stuff that has never escaped. So I'm gonna, and there's an awful lot of it. I'm gonna pick the better of those things and make a series of albums. And originally Colin was going to join me as well, but he pulled out for some reason. I don't know why. He never really explained why he didn't want to do that, because he's got a lot of demos as well. Mm-hmm. But, I had to stop at like 8 volumes. I thought, no, this could go on forever, so I'll stop at 8 volumes. And you can get them all together in a lovely box that looks like an old kid's 50s stamp album.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, great fun. Like I say, love all that packaging.